next type of global solution networks are what we call global standards networks. These are networks that are not based on states or controlled by states, but they develop standards and technical specifications for virtually anything, including standards for the internet itself. 1944, 44 countries got together in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, and they created the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And a couple of years later, a broader group of countries created the International Standards Organization, but it was pretty much based on states. Today, virtually all important standards activities are multi-stakeholder. The defining characteristics of standards networks are that they're collaborative, creative, they're supported by market forces and by free enterprise. And tackling a problem with a range of participants provides greater visibility and awareness. It opens up solutions to allow innovations to blossom early, more broadly, more deeply, and critically, it helps ensure that standards actually get implemented because all of the key stakeholders are at the table. So examples, great examples, have to do with the internet itself. Let me explain a few. The Internet Engineering Task Force, the IETF, is a technological marvel. It's not bound by any kind of centralized infrastructure or controlled by states. Thousands of small and large vendors provide hundreds of thousands of internet connectivity products using standard protocols and rules of engagement established through the Internet Society and the Internet Engineering Task Force, which is really part of that. A ragtag ecosystem of people that come together. It's a pure meritocracy, and you can walk in there and decide, I think the architecture of this part of the internet is totally wrong. You say that, you convince them that it's true, and the architecture of the internet will actually change. It's a phenomenal thing. Another one is the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C. Its mission is to lead the World Wide Web in its full potential by developing protocols and guidelines that ensure the long-term growth of the web. Now, the primary occupation is maintaining the HTML standard. That's the markup language that defines the way the websites display data and graphical content. And of course, a big theme of the W3C over the last period has been the creation and evolution of HTML5. Now, the W3C is either formal or informal working relationships with other regional, national, and international organizations that work to develop web standards. Now, moving away from the internet, the Global Reporting Initiative offers a broad and inclusive approach to corporate sustainability reporting that could standardize reporting practices across all sectors of the economy. The GRI, it's called, and its founders envisioned that the framework would become an agent of change within reporting organizations, and to a large extent that's succeeded. So standards lead to improvements and to change. The U.S. Green Building Council is made up of representatives from about 60 firms and nonprofits promoting energy efficiency in the construction industry. And they create standards for building design, construction, operation, and performance. And simple, agile operations make sense for standards networks early on. If you're creating one, it's a key lesson. And they eventually mature with the development of 4 key functions. First is the administrative body guides overall operation of the network, the external view of the standards and its impact on broader society. Then standards development work groups manage the creation and life cycle of each standard. So each work group could kind of be seen as a multi-stakeholder network itself, involving participants from the private sector, civil society, public institutions, and even individuals. Thirdly, the standards implementers, adopters, vendors, service providers, they build and sell products or services that are used by their end users. And finally, you have the end customers or consumers are the ones who eventually benefit. The internet and the web users don't need to understand the standard at all to use it in their daily work. But they're, in a sense, part of the ecosystem. So global standards networks create the framework for common operations, transparency, interoperability across private, public, civil sectors worldwide. They create common design that commercial organizations can implement as products or services to offer to end customers. They organize collective best practices into common approved sets to elevate an overall sector and industry. They find the balance between the theoretical ideas and practical needs to meet market demand. And they drive global adoption of these standards using the free market forces that exist today in this highly networked world, rather than just government regulation. It's a wonderful new thing, global standards networks that are actually at the heart of much of what we consume and much of what we do.